Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of Media Matters by Anfield Index. The international break is nearly over, people. Just hold on a little bit longer. The Reds are back in action on Sunday. There's still things coming out about transfers and contracts, and there's the general matches and the things on the field. I'm delighted as ever to be joined by the renowned and the respected David Lynch. Is this a bit of a quieter time, David? Is it nice having a little bit of an international break so early?
Yeah, I don't mind this kind of. I know it gets a bit interrupted and it is a bit difficult kind of coming up with ideas around this period or whatever, particularly as a freelancer. But it's so relentless in the other parts of the season, like press conference match, and then everything else you got to kind of fit in between that. That this period where you do get these odd international breaks and you still get your weekends and stuff. It is, I know not everyone agrees with me, but I don't mind it at all. So and there's, a couple more after this, and then it's just head down then till March, isn't it? So I don't complain about them too much, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're just about to hit that 2 games a week period, aren't we? So the madness will start. But we'll actually start with off the field news this week, a bit different, because I know people want to talk about games, transfers and all sorts, but just off the field, there's a few things I wanted to ask you about. I suppose the biggest official club news is the redevelopment of the academy site, around 20 million rumoured to be pumped into the redevelopment. This is a good news story, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think it just kind of, it gives you, further faith really, as if you kind of needed it, that the club is going in the right direction in every single aspect. It's not kind of, okay, we've done the training ground now, we've done Anfield, we've had a good go at spending on the first team as well. We're going to take our foot off the gas and see what happens. It's where else can we eke out improvement? Where can investment, deliver dividends for us? And obviously the academy is an area that they feel that they can get even more out of, even though I think it's been fairly productive in recent years. So, I think really, really good news. You always want to kind of up things there. And we've seen the benefits from the changes at the training ground, as I say, the other infrastructure projects that have been undertaken. And if this delivers in a similar way, then, in a few years' time, we will look back on this as a key development for Liverpool. So I think really good news. And just, again, reinforces for me, there can't be many kind of FSG out left at the moment, surely, with the shape the club is in. When you take it as a whole, this is just another big step forward for them, really, and more investment that, as I say, I hope will have really positive impact going forward.
And there has been a lot of impact from that youth team into the first team. But even if it is homegrown, like a Connor Bradley, Jarell Kwanzaa, smart recruitment with the likes of getting Harvey Elliott-Young, Rio and Gamoa, it's still going to be the mix of getting that right, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think, you got to acknowledge that not all of these kids that are coming through are kind of, I don't think we can maybe claim Rio and Gamoa as a Liverpool product, so to speak. But, again, there's a skill to that. And I think Liverpool have got better at that domestic recruitment at youth level. It was something I think they were poor on, really. Go back maybe 10 years or so. They've really upped the game in that front. Trainione is another one who's going to come through, and no doubt he's going to play a lot of games for Liverpool as well. So they're getting that right. But alongside that, and this is the thing you absolutely want to see, as well as being good at recruitment at that age level, is how good they are at developing players. And I mean, you've just lost Trent Alexander-Arnold, who would have played his entire career at Liverpool if not for wanting that experience of Real Madrid. We're talking about a Real Madrid level of player, Liverpool level of player, has come through from the age of 6. That is remarkable. To get another one then in Jarell Kwanzaa, who, I know he's been moved on, but there's a buyback clause there. He's going to play at Champions League level for the extent of his career. I don't doubt that for a second. Again, came through at the age of 6. He's only from Warrington down the road. You got Curtis Jones there. Pretty unbelievable that they've done that again. Because the thing is, as well, as high a level as you are at Liverpool, the further up you go, the more this is now like a team that wants to challenge the Champions League. Yeah. The harder it is to get kids from your local area to come through at that level, and Liverpool are doing it pretty consistently as well. And I would note, I'd even say kind of Connor Bradley comes into that, Queevy and Kelleher maybe, because particularly in Bradley's case, he was on Liverpool's radar and part of their kind of wider kind of, not soccer schools, but the kind of development centres that they've got all over the UK. So he was part of Liverpool from the age of 9, really. So he is as much a kind of a local lad developed by Liverpool as anyone else, really. So, like I say, it's just a really good balance they've got at the moment of doing a bit of both. He's getting them through from very young ages, but also recruiting really well. And yeah, hopefully this investment allows them to do more of that, because it's in a real strength. And you think, you can't probably sign Florian Wirtz if you're going out to sign a midfielder to do what Curtis Jones does for you throughout a season, plus sign a right back of Conor Bradley's level. That is a good chunk of money over a couple of summers that you can't then put into paying 116 million for Wirtz. So these things make a massive difference. So yeah, I want to see more of that, and Liverpool clearly want to see more of that as well.
Yeah, fingers crossed a few more off the production line come in. I'm going to start this question carefully, and you can be honest. International break. Watched a single minute of it.
I don't generally, because I see so much football in the season, and it's a bit of time where you get to actually spend a weekend with your child and stuff. So that's my mum and my wife. So try and avoid it. But I did actually catch the last kind of half an hour of the Germany game yesterday. So that's all I've seen. But actually, I caught a good period of that match as well from a Liverpool perspective. But yeah, I generally try and avoid it because I try and do other things that are non-football based, because there's that much football in the season. So I'd not seen much, but I did see a little bit of Germany yesterday.
It's funny because Wirtz scores a brilliant free kick, Gakpo gets an assist, and there are a few positives there. The Dutch contingent, they finished their international period, so they're back having a little bit of a rest before Burnley. Same with Wirtz, same with Bradley. Curtis Jones didn't go for some bizarre reason, and Joe Gomez has a break as well. I suppose in terms of two players that it seems a bit bizarre, they've gone, but they've not played a minute, is Alexis McAllister and Isak as well. I mean, in a good way, we don't want them to be playing minutes. We'd rather they didn't play in the internationals. But if that's the case, does it not seem a bit pointless they've gone in the first place?
Yeah, I think particularly with McAllister, because, Argentina are not short of talent, are they? As good, as brilliant a player as he is, and a guaranteed starter. If you know he's not going to be quite right, that you're going to maybe be able to start him, just don't fly him all that way out. I mean, for Isak, a bit less of a trip. He probably needed the training and the minutes there. Well, not minutes, obviously, but he probably needed the training to be around it. And I think if Sweden could have used him, they absolutely would have, because, he's definitely their best player, to be honest. So, I think with McAllister, a bit of a strange one. I didn't actually know that till you mentioned it, that he hadn't played. So, that is an odd one, and a bit frustrating that he's been flown out there for that. With Isak, definitely a shame he's not had minutes. Have Sweden finished their games now? Are they gone?
Kosovo.
Right, okay. So if there's a possibility for Isak to get some minutes there, that would be fantastic, because Liverpool, they just now need to get him fit as quickly as they possibly can. And obviously anything he can do on international duty will be a help. I mean, one of those, you look at kind of Conor Bradley playing yesterday for Northern Ireland, and I'm not sure if he played in the other game as well, but that's really important and helpful for Liverpool. So, as much as we say it's a hindrance, sometimes it can be a real help. And Conor Bradley's minutes there, if Isak can get any, that would be fantastic. So hopefully there's some kind of bonuses to take from this, which is minutes for the ones who need it. And and the priority, of course, is that everybody comes back with a clean bill of health.
Yeah, that's the fingers crossed, touch wood job. We'll see if that's the case. Wednesday, I think the early hours is the last one, so we'll have to wait too long. And other off-the-field news, a couple of goals were up for Premier League's Goal of the Month for August. Which one would you go for out of these two?
I do love a team goal. It's, to be honest, I would always generally pick the team goal, and so in Szoboszlai, to be fair to him, he makes that Ngamoa goal, doesn't he? So I'm not taking too much credit from him, but so I always kind of lean on the side of that, the importance of the goal in the moment, how big the atmosphere was in that game, how significant that felt with all the Isak thing going on in the background as well, and the fact it was a 16-year-old child who scores it. For me, I absolutely love that goal, But obviously, I appreciate the technique and the brilliance of what Szoboszlai did. I mean, one of the best free kicks I've had the pleasure to see in person, really. So, maybe feel a bit harsh taking it off Szoboszlai, but I'm a sucker for a team goal, because I love the way. I think for me that's what football is about. Is yes, there's individual brilliance in there, but if you can get a team of sort of 11 players to kind of think on the same page and bamboozle the opposition. I just love that. So for me, I would go Engamo, but I suspect Szoboszlai's probably going to win it anyway.
Yeah, that's where the smart money's going. And we've not really talked about this yet, because usually we'll talk about it. It takes maybe a while to get going. It gets punctuated by a big game. But there's only been 2 games so far at Anfield, and that atmosphere at times has been absolutely rocking already, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm really glad this was on the agenda, actually, because it's something I kind of wanted to talk about, because I just think, I think at the start of every single season, you get kind of this huge debate comes around, doesn't it, about the Anfield atmosphere. It's going down the pan, it's rubbish. And you think, well, it's the first game of the season or the second or the third game of the season or whatever. The stakes are not that high, and generally you get kind of a gentle start or whatever, particularly last season. It was like, really low stakes games, larger games that Liverpool should be expecting to win and generally did in the opening period of the season. So the atmosphere was never going to be kind of electric, but it's just felt kind of getting the Friday night game in the first game of the season really helped. I think that was like really made the atmosphere what it was. And then, of course, there was drama in the game. There was tension. There was a lot of jeopardy in there. And the let-off for Chiesa. I mean, it was like April or something, the importance of the goal. So that was fantastic. I really enjoyed that. And then, of course, to kind of follow it up with Arsenal, which we know is going to be a big game. It's, you can't win the title at third game of the season, but you can get a 3-point lead over your main title rivals at any point in the season. It's worth getting, and obviously to deal them a psychological blow of beating them as well. So that was really good. And again, a game where it was kind of tense, it was tight, it was close. That really helped the atmosphere. So yeah, it's just, I think that fixture list has kind of really helped Liverpool out and how the games eventually panned out. But it was really good. And I think the Arsenal game in particular I wanted to talk about, because I think the fans deserve a lot of praise, because at times, particularly the first half, there wasn't a lot in that game in terms of stuff to kind of grab onto. But I felt as much as the team kicked on in the second half and tried to force it and tried to make things happen in a way that Arsenal didn't, I thought the fans did the same. They really kind of took the game by the scruff of the neck and got things going and got an atmosphere going. And then that all culminated, of course, in winning it late. So I think huge credit to the supporters at Anfield. Thought they were brilliant in that game in particular. But for me, I never buy into the criticisms anyway. I know it's it's going to ebb and flow. Some games this season where it's not great, some games this season where it's absolutely outrageous and the best in the world. So you got to accept that. But it's been very, very good to start the season. Really, it's always good to see that.
And you're speaking of fixtures as well. The next one is just a quiet, good Merseyside derby at 12:30. So that'll be interesting to see how that affects the atmosphere. But you talked about the fixtures, and there's 6 coming up in September. The Champions League, the Carabao comes into the mix here as well. Which of these, when you're looking at them, kind of stands out for you?
Well, it's interesting because you're into that run now of kind of it gets really busy, and so there are some tough ones in there. I mean, you're obviously going to think that kind of first Champions League fixture is going to be quite a tasty one. Obviously, that's a tough test, and I think I'm right in saying first time they played Atletico since the COVID game or the one just before COVID. So maybe a bit of an opportunity to get some revenge there. I'm sure the atmosphere will be very good. And then, of course, the derby is the derby. Palace looks a really, really tricky one as well, doesn't it? We know how good a side they are and the run of form they're on at the moment as well. And, Liverpool tend to have a good record against Palace, but I think every game's kind of, particularly at their place, has been really, really tight, hasn't it? So, a good mix of kind of tough games in there. Really looking forward to the Carabao to see Rio, for example, and maybe hopefully a bit of Trainioni and stuff. So it's a really, really interesting run, actually. And a lot to kind of look forward in there. But of course, I think if you're going to pick one game out as one you want to win and you're really kind of looking forward to, I guess it's always going to be the derby, isn't it?
Yeah, just feel like that'll be huge. Another big game at Anfield so early. And you kind of mentioned Southampton there, which is the Carabao, Rio, Neoni, others like that. Is it simply a case of 5 of them will be full strength and this will be a full rotation in the Carabao?
Yeah, I think I'd be surprised if it's anything but that. You might see the odd tweak, and we've seen that with Slot. He kind of manages squad through a season, but he largely likes to pick a pretty settled 11. So you might see the odd kind of Curtis Jones in for McAllister and things like that, but nothing nothing too huge in terms of the changes. And, I guess kind of up front, for example, you're probably not going to have much of Isak in this run. It's going to be, he's an interesting kind of sideline there about what that first choice looks like in this coming period. So, but yeah, I think kind of get to that game, and then, you really will see the full extent of the squad used then, which again always makes these games interesting as well. So loads to look forward to in this one, really.
Yeah, it's going to be busy. It's going to be absolutely crazy. And then it finishes with another international break. But there's a lot to talk about before then. And